the chairman of the Council of Governors, and the governors who are here, the Speaker of the National Assembly and the senators, Honorable Fred Matiang'i and all the other cabinet secretaries who are here, development partners, diplomats, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. I was in Makueni 2 weeks ago, and I knew that this conference was coming, and I promised the governor that I would come, because I've been a regular feature in these conferences since they started. So, but this Makueni conference has had history. Waswahili say, hayawi, 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 hayawi. Yeah, you know, it's not the first, it has been postponed so many times. But it will come. Now, when we're here, one cannot resist the temptation to do a journey down the memory lane and to see where we came from with devolution. Some of you here know our faces at the Bomas Constitutional Conference. We knew that devolution was one of the most contentious chapters at Bomas. It had, because of basically ignorance about devolution, it had very many opponents. And remember, at one session, when we were discussing, a gentleman stood and spoke so passionate about devolution that it was resolved that he should become the chairman of that committee. And he led that committee so efficiently that he became a marked person. Then one day, in front of his children, in broad daylight, some people just moved into his house and shot him directly while his children were watching helplessly. This is none other than the late Dr. Odinga. And today I'm going to request you, in honor of the late Dr. Odinga, to stand up and observe 1 minute silence. Thank you. We are celebrating a decade of this bold experiment with the 2 levels of government, which has been a remarkable journey for our people. It has been full of triumphs and challenges. At this 7th conference, you have decided to confront the elephant in the room of human survival, the issue of climate change. This is a clear indication that counties are coming of age and venturing into some of the greatest challenges humanity is facing now and the centuries ahead. I commend you for this. Climate change is bigger than the election coming up in 2022 or the ones coming that will follow in 2027 and 2032. It is a life and death matter that has cornered everyone all over the planet. I believe that climate is so important that going forward, we need to have a National Climate Council and situate it within the presidency. Kenya is experiencing higher temperatures, unpredictable rainfall patterns, increased incidence of drought and floods, and rising sea levels. Extreme weather events have led to loss of lives, diminished livelihoods, reduced crop and livestock production, and damaged infrastructure, among other adverse impacts. The key enablers of our economy, that is agriculture, water, energy, tourism, and wildlife, are extremely climate sensitive. If we don't tackle climate change, all our efforts to grow our economy will be in vain. County governments operate right on the ground. They are the first port of call when homes and farms get washed away by floods that were not expected. They are the first line of defense when crops fail in a drought that comes when rains were expected. Counties, therefore, have a critical role, particularly in educating our people on the reality of climate change. You have no option but to provide leadership on this matter. I am aware that to date, 33 counties have enacted climate change policy and legal frameworks, while others are at different stages of formulation of the same. I particularly laud the ASAL counties of Garissa, Isiolo, Kitui, Makueni, and Wajir, which have gone ahead and established county climate change funds. That is the leadership we are looking for at the grassroots. Today, there are several other transformative ideas whose time has come in Kenya. They are being resisted the way devolution was, but we will actualize them because their time is here. At this forum, I would like to share some thoughts on how we are going to renew and redefine devolution to make it deliver better to the people. Across the country, old and lingering challenges are imposing new pressures on government and leaders at both county and national level. Unemployment, deepening poverty, and rising cost of living have left our people disappointed and sometimes angry at their leaders. People need our help. Our duty as leaders is to breathe a new life and give new purpose to all institutions and structures. Where need be, we will have to be bold enough to abandon institutions and ideas that are not working and come up with new ones. For a start, we must strengthen devolution. We must devolve more resources to the counties. This should not be a divisive issue. That is what the BBI was intending to do. We must also overcome the challenge of insufficient allocation and delays in disbursement of funds by the National Treasury to counties, if counties are to operate efficiently. On this, there should be no debate. The funds will have to follow all devolved functions. This means the National Treasury will have to release all the funds for all the devolved functions at the appropriate time. There must be no two ways about this. The problem of overlapping and duplication of functions by state agencies, corporations, and regional development authorities will also have to be addressed conclusively. Addressing these issues need not mean antagonism between counties and the national government. On the contrary, they require a partnership between the two levels of government. There must also be a clear understanding that no level of government can succeed when the other is failing. Take economic growth, for instance. When the national economy is weak, counties will be disempowered. So growth, which leads to jobs and lowers the cost of living, must be a shared concern for both county and national government. Counties must be at the center of our envisaged growth and recovery for employment and job creation. In the years ahead, we must renew the contract between the people and their government, both county and national. People must feel that government, whether county or national, is there for them and cares about them. Each level of government will have to invent new ways to deal with purely national or evolved challenges. In the end, however, our people need their problems solved regardless of the level of government that is supposed to do it. My vision is to push for a strong partnership to make all our counties feel more a part of the solution of our national problems while helping counties solve their devolved challenges, and that empowers the counties to determine their own destiny. I would like to see increased agricultural productivity. This will not only increase incomes, it will also create more employment opportunities. So we will need to work together to ensure efficient and targeted fertilizer subsidy, a clear program for mechanization of agriculture, proper water management and irrigation, deployment of extension officers, and functioning systems of market access. I am extremely keen to see counties go past agriculture and delve into manufacturing and value addition. Today, only about 7 counties, all of them peri-urban, are involved in some kind of manufacturing. We need to go for robust manufacturing in all our counties to generate productive employment opportunities at national and county levels. One county, one product. We need to establish or revive agriculture-related cooperative societies to promote growth in the counties and absorb rural labor. We also need to put more money into county-level infrastructure development to attract investment in rural areas. Ladies and gentlemen, more importantly, counties must improve on own source revenue collections. This means counties must expand revenue bases. Counties with relatively well-established industry and service sectors do better on own source revenue collection. We must also push for full automation of revenue collection systems in all counties to seal revenue leakages and avenues for corruption. And we must commit to deal with the old-time national and now devolved problem of corruption. On this, action will speak louder than words in the years ahead. I am also aware that counties are struggling with the problem of marginalization, particularly of minorities in their borders. We will need to come up with clear mechanisms to make all communities within counties feel fairly treated and their voices heard. Finally, I wish to point out one extremely critical issue that we have to address, the question of spending priorities. We must devise ways to make counties spend the largest share of their revenues on development. The Public Finance Management Act of 2012 requires that at least 30% of the spending should be on development over medium term. Yet today, majority of counties spend more than 50% of their revenue on personal emoluments. I am aware, of course, that this is because of the amount that is being disbursed is insufficient, and that therefore need to increase the disbursement to the counties. This is where devolution is failing to change lives as it should. So we need to enforce and ensure adherence to the Public Finance Management Act. All these challenges and aspirations point out to two things. One is that we should not treat devolution as a fixed system. We should see it as an evolving system where the pendulum of powers and roles can swing back and forth, one way or the other, between counties and national governments. Secondly, the county government and the national government must work together in a partnership for Project Kenya, because none is more important than the other. Kenya is much more important, and therefore I'm talking about a partnership between two levels of government, that the national government must ensure that the county governments are working effectively, that we do not have 38 countries in one. We have only one country, and that therefore there must be measurable standards against which all the performance of all counties are going to be benchmarked. That we ensure that the service delivery is equitable throughout our country in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of agriculture, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of environmental protection. We must ensure that there's comparable standards across the whole country. And that should be the responsibility of the national government to ensure that counties meet that standard. That we first agree on a standard to be met, and then we have a way of evaluating to ensure that there's conformity with the standard which has been set and commonly agreed between the national government and all the county governments. I want to thank you and wish you a very fruitful deliberation during this conference. Thank you very much.